LMPD has arrested 2 people Thursday in what they call a significant child abuse case. An exam revealed that the children had skull fractures, missing teeth, severe anemia from loss of blood, on top of several other injuries. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke learned more about the suspects and the charges that they face.
27-year-old Nicholas Shanks and 25-year-old Shelby Kuntz are both being held on $500,000 bonds. Investigators believe the two have been abusing their children based on injuries reported by doctors. The investigation started after a child around 2 years old went into full cardiac arrest at U of L Hospital. Doctors resuscitated the child and took them to Norton Children's Hospital. A further examination showed the child had a skull fracture, several missing teeth, healing rib fractures, extensive bruising, and severe anemia from loss of blood. The child was also extremely underweight and showed signs of muscle, liver, and pancreas damage. This discovery prompted detectives with the Special Victims Unit and Child Protective Services to check on other children at the home. They found a child around the age of 1 with what they say were obvious signs of trauma. Norton Children's Hospital reported the second child related to this case had several similar injuries, including 3 possible skull fractures, a possible jawbone fracture, cuts above both eyes, and nose trauma. According to the arrest citation, the parents told detectives they were the only ones who had been near the children. Shanks and Kuntz are being charged with assault, first-degree domestic violence, criminal abuse for a child 12 or under, wanton endangerment, and endangering the welfare of a minor. In addition to the child abuse allegations, Shanks is also facing drug-related charges. LMPD found a loose crystal-like substance in his pants. Shanks claimed it's rock salt for roads, but LMDC's certified narcotics K9 detected something else. LMPD took the substance to be tested. If Shanks or Kuntz post their bond, they will be on home incarceration. They are also ordered not to have contact with their children or any minors. They also cannot contact each other. Shanks and Kuntz have their next court appearances on January 26th. Marissa Burke, Wave News.